I want to do a little video. I thought we'd call it poking around on my shelves, and there's plenty to poke around at. What I wanted to find was the punch. Here is the punch, hardened steel. That's handmade, not even a milling machine made that. That'll be made by, oh yeah, there is some milling on it. Why the hell did I do that? I can't remember. I didn't have a milling machine at the time, though I did occasionally have access to one. And with all sorts on these shelves, lots of homemade cutters. But I want to talk about the outrigger hinge. That's the die for it. That's filed by hand. We'll get that down from the shelf in a minute. There's the punch. But also as well, there's sets of homemade cutters with 2 and 3 blades, because sometimes I think stock variation, thickness and stock variation, there's 5 piled together. There's all sorts of names. My dad's vertical slide. Where's Myford? We've still got the lathe, it's in the corner, that's what's running at the minute. And lots of homemade cutters. What's this? This is a, I haven't a clue what this is for. Real work at Hardy's or stuff for me. Here we are. There's a 7mm AF hexagon socket drift that would be used on a press to produce a 7mm AF socket, probably for electronic tooling. There's a ball nose cutter. That's made by hand, all filed by hand. It's the only way you could do that one. And these are special purpose counter bores or spot facing cutters. These are commercial ones. These are all bought. These were my dad's. This is actually a block that my dad made probably about 30-40 years ago. Anyway, we'll get this off the shelf and we'll bring these cutters down, some of them, and we'll have a look. And if we can get down, because at the minute we're on the top of the capstan lathe, we might have a whoopsie if we're not careful. So this is a die set. This is where punches and dies are mounted. So there's our little punch, but it was never put in a die set, that. It was used free. That's very bad practice. That's because of the old company that I worked for. They use so much loose tooling, I cannot believe it. Anyway, so this is a proper die set. You buy one of these for about 150, something like that. It's just a little one. And there's the punch. And here we can see the hardened die there. Everybody has something to point with. There's the hardened die. That's the punch. And that thin plate there, we can see a stripper. It's called a stripper plate. And in between there's a gap where you pass the stock. And we'll lean over there. Here's the piece it produces. This is the cover plate for the adjustable bevel that I make, and so we need a few hundred of those. And if we lift the die set up, there we go, we can see, and there it falls down, sliding on these very accurate hardened pins and hardened bushes. Very good indeed. You can't really make a press tool without this. How the hell my last employer 30 years ago how we made so much loose tooling out of it was just stupid. Never mind, this is the proper way to do it. Right, so that's the die set. That's the punch, that's the die, and that's, what have we got? A little bit of old stock. Now these pieces are pressed up. I can't actually believe I used loose punch and die held in the front, but never mind. And these are the little pressings that resulted. Gorgeous little things. And they're sandwiched together. So we have 3 on the top, here we don't point with the pencil, 2 on the bottom. Which if we take a little end view, those are the slots we need to mill or machine into the 2 turn components. Obviously we've got the top, we've got the bottom. The bottom's maple lined, and I remember I made three diameters, 1¼ inch, 2 and 3 inch max diameter. That was subject to distortion, not easy. So these, if we actually place them, they would fit into, there's a side view of the container again with a little bead on it. And basically hand turned, and these were maple lined as well, so the inside of the box, at least the bottom half of it is maple lined, so the inside is bright, it's white, you can see what's in there, it's not a dark cavity, which would be a little bit silly. So anyway, I think as well, the reason I've got so many cutters is because there was stock variation. These are about 60 thou thick, so I think there's a cutter here that is just a one bladed, probably for the first ones I made, but there's various other sets. There's a set, there's a set, and here's another set, which we assume the radius of the cutter head equals the radius of the little slot we have at the end that we require for runouts. These would be arrowdited in. This is a riveted assembly. Little pin would be put through the 5 hinge members, and I'd have to make sure it works decently. And here's a cutter I made with all I needed on one length of stock to basically save silver steel, I would think. I think I'll be making this about 1980 after I left Hardy's, so this would be about 84. I guess this is 83, 84. And I used to occasionally go down to the Innovation Centre, so that would be explain the milling there. But what's interesting is you can see that to pull the bar stock off, I actually just chain drilled and broke it off. And I'm looking at the end of this plate, it's purely hand hacksaw. That was hacksawed off by hand. It wouldn't take long with a decent blade and a frame. But I used to do a bigger section than that. I think I've done about 5/8 or 3/4 by hand before, the 3" wide. Quite normal to do that in this workshop. No machine hacksaw, no milling machine as well either for the first 5 years. So hence having to go out to try and get some little simple milling done. So what I'll do next is we'll get some photographs at home of what this actual finished product looked like. So that's how it was made, sandwiched together, 5 pieces of these little... Oh, struck a look, here we are in the upstairs workroom now. I've got a little display of work, and here's one of them. Let's see, here's a 2" the middle size of outrigger, hinged, maple lined. It's engraved with its own serial number in there. Everything was numbered that I made. And this has got it's a buffed, I think it's probably Vonax finish, but it's very good because it doesn't show up finger marks. This is a reject actually, because I think, there we are, I was just finishing this off in the lathe. I probably had this held in the 3-jaw chuck, wanting to lightly paper this. Oh yeah, probably lightly paper inside where it engraved or whatever. And of course the thing flew out. All this work down the pan. So that's why it was not good enough to sell. So it's just remained around the house. I've got a little display over in the corner there and a few shelves. So this is the middle size, and we shut it. This one's a bit, yeah, it's not too bad. It's a little distorted. So that's the design. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. So these are the original little legs, and I notice, look carefully, I can see that I've actually filed and papered and buffed the outside surfaces, the actual visible surfaces. So if we open the box, we can see that every surface that's visible has actually been filed, papered and polished before it's glued in. So there you see, there's the importance. Once you've got 5 of those together, if you're using little bits of sheet material, it's always nickel silver, German silver, it's an alternative name, you'll find that, yeah, there it is, that's damaged as it flew out of the lathe. What a great shame. What a great shame. I'd probably be looking for a couple £100 for one of these now, if I was to make one. 200, 250. But I don't make them any longer. Last year was 1988, I think. That's why this is from a, what is it? This is the lathe turned objects. So this was over in Philadelphia, over at the Cops catalogue. So this would be middle or late 80s. So I produced this from about 82, 83 onwards.